I'm live in the proper way now. Am I? Am I? You guys, oh, hello? Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go with it. I'm having technical difficulties if you can't tell. So, you know what? We're just gonna go with it instead of fighting it because we know I have technical issues. Okay, everybody, I'm Naomi Bloom. Thank you for tuning in or watching later or whatever you choose to do. This is going to be an interesting evening because I'm going to talk about affairs. I'm going to talk about cheating. I'm going to tell you what I've learned by being a marital therapist about cheating. So if you want to know about that, tune in. You guys, this is going to be a little longer than normal just because there's a lot of content. So bear with me. Okay, so welcome. Like I said, Naomi Bloom. And I think you're all amazing for showing up to learn. Okay, so I want to talk about, you guys, I want to talk about why people cheat. Infidelity, call it what you will. You know, what causes that? I mean, it creates so much havoc and so much pain in families and in couples. I think it's worth figuring out like what that's all about. Why do people cheat? And so that's what we're going to talk about. And it's going to be interesting. And I'm going to be honest with you guys about what I've learned. Okay, so I want to start with a story because you know that I love stories. When I was in my 30s, I was doing this residency program and I worked pretty often with this guy. And I was married at the time. I'm divorced now, not because of an affair, but I noticed that I became attracted to this coworker in my residency. So I noticed it. And I was like, okay, I'm married. I have a child at home. I think she was like 3 at the time. And I was like, I need to like be aware of like what's going on here. So one would notice like, I don't know, I would just like find excuses to talk to him. And we would be joking. And then we would like just talk more about like more casually. That's how it started. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm being trained to be a therapist, so I need to deal with this in an appropriate way. And so I sat my husband at the time down and I said, I'm attracted to someone else. And he was just like, okay. And I said, I want to protect our relationship, so I'm going to go see a therapist. I'm going to like get help for this. I'm going to talk out like what's going on with me. And he was supportive. He was like, okay. So I went to a therapist and I talked about like my marriage and the stuff that was going on, all the stuff I'm going to tell you guys about. And like, I ended up not acting on it. And I'm not judging the people that do act on it. I'm going to talk about that. But had I not like had the presence of mind to notice that it was a problem, I would have acted on it. That's how that's how it happens. So I'm going to tell you about why people cheat. I'm going to give you 5 basic reasons, and then I'm going to go in depth on each of them. So I want to tell you guys what it's like as a marital therapist when you get a phone call or a text or an email from a couple that infidelity has happened. It's like they want to get in right away, of course. You guys, Weebles is scratching at the door. Weebles, no. They want to get in right away. Usually it's the person who did the cheating who ends up calling because I think their partner's just like, you did this. If we're going to have to see a therapist, you're going to like be the one to call. And so it's usually like the cheater that calls me. And they just want my next like available appointment. And so you guys, what do I feel as a therapist? I'm just like, oh, shoot. Gosh darn it. These people are hurting. This is some intense shit. This is going to be a very raw hour. And my heart sinks for them because I know like how much pain all of them are in. Each of them. I mean, each party is in a lot of pain. And so I know this. And so I'm just like, I'm like, feel weirdly honored to be with them during this time where they're like most vulnerable. Do you know? Imagine letting someone into that. Like someone cheated on you and you're seeing a therapist the next day. Like you want that person to like be a real person. Do you know what I'm saying? So I consider it an honor to talk to couples when they're going through this. And I've done it like, you know, quite a few times, shall we say. So When the couple comes in, oh, Vic, shoot, okay. When the couple comes in, typically they are, you can tell they've been up for days. Their eyes are all puffy. You can tell they've been crying. They've been talking for hours. They're not in a good state. We'll just put it that way. It's like not pretty. And they're trying to, I always feel for them because they're also trying to like deal with work and deal with their children and like regular life, still continues to happen when this bombshell goes off. So they're still like trying to, a lot of them are calling into work sick and like trying to act like normal for the kids. It's like stressful. I feel for them. You can feel the stress. It's palpable. And they're grieving. They're intensely grieving. Usually both parties are intensely grieving. It's like hardcore. And something that people should know is when like one person cheats, something really interesting happens. The couple all of a sudden, once the cheating comes out, which is usually by social media people or some technological glitch, so be aware, but it usually comes out through technology. And it's like a bombshell going off in their lives. It's complete shock. And they tend to like have a lot of sex right after the affair is discovered. This is I don't know how well you guys know this, but this is like not a known fact. That it's like the sex goes up immediately. It's just like they're reclaiming each other. And so it's this emotionally raw, sexually charged, like, mess that like shows up in my office. So that's, an interesting way to spend an hour. I would like do nothing else. I love it, but hey, it's difficult. You guys, a lot of times by the time people show up in my office in this state, they have divulged details about the affair. And I advise against that. I do not, that people have different, therapists have different views on this. I don't think that having specific details, which can turn into like PTSD images in your mind, is helpful. So I try to tell couples, if I can catch them before they do it, like details are not necessary. And we all know what I mean by details. That I just find that makes it more difficult on the couple in the long run. So I want to talk about what I consider a huge fallacy. A huge fallacy is that when one person cheats, the couple usually breaks up. That's not true. So just AKA it's just not true. Usually the couple wants to make it work. And why? Well, why not? I mean, you're attached to one another, you love one another, you've invested time, money, this entire like years of your life, sometimes decades, building a life together. So it's like, and usually the two parties are still in love with one another. This is complicated a lot of the time. And so most people try to make it work. They want to make it work. So that's when, hopefully they come to a qualified therapist to like help them with affair recovery. So I'm going to switch a little bit. I'm going to make a bit of a transition here. I want to talk about why people cheat, what I've observed. And obviously like the reason people cheat or have affairs varies. And it's like a recipe of reasons. It's not one key reason, right? So people cheat for all kinds of reasons. But I've like narrowed it down to like 5 basic reasons why people cheat. Okay, so I'm going to list those off and then I'm going to go into a bit more detail on each of them. Okay, so I want to just say, FYI, I'm bleeding here. I exclude like people who are addicted to sex or are using sex as a substance or like compulsivity, sexual compulsivity. These are just like typical regular people why people cheat, not people who have like a sexual compulsivity issue or a sex addiction issue. We're not talking about those folks, okay? So the top 5 reasons, I'm going to go through them and then I'm going to explain them. Number 1, not protecting the relationship. If you want to learn about this, see my video about why my marriage failed. And it wasn't due to infidelity, but it was due to not protecting the relationship, okay? We will talk more about that. Number 2, vitality/identity issues. The most common phrase I hear from the cheater is like, I've never felt so alive. So when we're not feeling alive in our lives, that becomes problematic, and that sometimes manifests in an affair, right? So I call that the vitality identity sort of issue. We'll talk more about it. Okay, compatibility mismatch. Some people just are like at their core are incompatible for a variety of reasons. And that's just foundational. So sometimes this happens due to compatibility issues. Okay, number 4, I'm getting near the end. I call it the winter of a relationship. Most people expect the relationship to always be spring or summer or early fall, where it's like nice and everyone's springy and everyone's cute and everything's cheerful. But there's always winter. In any long-term relationship, there is winter. With your mother, with your best friend, with your spouse, there's winter. And so winter just means when the relationship has like lost its spark, it feels kind of dead inside, you're just like feeling indifferent. That's a winter. That you're going to cycle out of that if you take some time. But sometimes people, when they have a winter, they think it's like the end of the relationship. That they choose to have an affair. So sometimes it's just a winter, folks. We all go through it. Let's not abort mission because we're in a winter, okay? No judgment. I'm just saying. I'm trying to educate here. Okay. The last one is not very common. Sometimes an affair is an exit strategy, either consciously or subconsciously to like get out of the relationship. Like, I know if I do this, it will be like unforgivable, and the die will be cast, and it's just like nothing is changing, and this is going to be over. Some people do it because they don't have the courage to just ask for a divorce. So they just sabotage it in this particular way. Okay, that doesn't happen very often, actually. You'd be surprised. Okay, let's go through these one by one. Not protecting the relationship. You guys, I did a whole video on this on why my marriage failed. So not nurturing the relationship is just not taking care of the relationship, not taking one another for granted, letting kids and jobs and life and bills just like kill all the romance and just like create like two distant people. Okay, not taking care of the relationship. You let your connection weaken. You just kind of get lazy. Okay, this is a cause of affairs. It is. One thing that couples who've been together for a while do is they stop mirroring one another. And so what is mirroring? Mirroring is like when your child brings you a picture that they made in school and they show it to you. Mirroring is when you're like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I think you're a great artist. I love how you made the sky purple. That's mirroring. It's like the child sees a positive reflection of themselves in your eyes. Okay, couples need that too. Couples need to like mirror one another. I remember sitting down with a man, and he had an affair, and he said to me, it was just nice to see someone smile at me from across the table. And I thought, this is somebody's whose marriage lacked mirroring. We all need that. That doesn't make us narcissistic. It's just like we need to know that our partner sees us positively. Okay? So not prioritizing the relationship, not mirroring. It's just your typical like ho-hum, whole drum, like, gets to be boring and stale relationship because you're so busy with life. That is danger zone for an affair. Just FYI. Okay, vitality or identity issues. Like I said, there are so many times that the cheater has come to me and said, I felt so alive. And then I'm asking myself, like, well, what did he feel before? If this made he or she, because it's equal, if this made them feel more alive, that would mean that they somehow felt dead inside before. They felt like they weren't living an authentic life. They felt swallowed up in like responsibilities and like work and like they'd lost their identity. They were missing like buoyancy and excitement and vitality and authenticity in life. You guys, we all need that. And this happens to us in middle age. We just start kind of like going through the motions. Okay. And when that happens, people are more likely to have an affair when they let themselves fall into that state of complacency, of like loss of vitality. And they're just like, I don't even know how I got here. How is this my life? Like, I feel like every day is the same. It all seems meaningless. Your relationship is ripe for an affair if you're in that place, okay? So just be aware. That's another reason it happens. Okay, the next one is compatibility mismatch. This one's pretty basic. It's like in some core issues, you just will never see eye to eye. And you know, a lot of couples don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but there are some things that are like you can't compromise on, like whether to have children or not, whether to have like one kind of lifestyle or another. You know, if the foundational stuff is too fundamentally different, sometimes people will have affairs with people with whom they feel more genuinely compatible. So, but it's more of like a foundational issue. It's not like an impulsive thing. Okay, I'm coming to the end, guys. I'm going to do another one next week on like what to do after an affair happens, affair recovery, okay? So, the next reason affairs happen, why people cheat, is it's the winter of their relationship. Like I said, we all expect things to be like, you know, on the up and up, like everything should be feeling good most of the time. And that is not the nature of long-term relationships. The nature of long-term relationships is that you will like hit the skids for a period of time. Okay? That is just the nature of things. And often people abort mission at that point because they think it's just a shitty relationship, or they have an affair because they've like hit winter. They've hit like a time of no energy and not getting along with their spouse. And so they think it's already over sometimes, or they mistake a winter for it already being over. I'm like, it's just a winter. This will pass. There will be spring. But they think it's completely over. So in their mind, they have affairs because they're like, well, it's over anyway. I might as well, like, I've been out of this for a long time. So people do it for that reason. And winters can happen due to internal reasons, like one person has depression, or there's mental illness, or there's a physical illness, or whatever. That kind of stuff can precipitate winters. And also like external issues can like create a winter, like financial problems, health of a child, things like that, career change, unemployment, things like that. And so external things can create a winter. And then sometimes it's both. It's like the external world is putting pressure on you and the internal world is putting pressure on you, and you are like you are in a winter as a couple. It is icy as it can get between the two of you, okay? So, but that doesn't mean the relationship is over and you should cheat. It means you're having a winter, okay? So, and like I said, I'm not judging anyone. I'm going to talk about that more in the next video when I talk about affair recovery. I'm just trying to tell you guys basically what I've learned. Okay, last reason people have affairs. You know, like I said, they have them for lots of reasons. These are basic themes. Is an exit strategy. They are not, like I said, they're not courageous enough. They're not ready. They're scared to come to their partner and say, I'm not happy and I don't want to do this anymore. So they have an affair. And so that, like I said, that one doesn't happen very often, but I thought I should add that. You guys, what is cheating? What is an affair? I know that there are people out there who are in like ethically non-monogamous relationships, open marriages, non-traditional marriages. That's not what I'm talking about. To me, cheating or infidelity or affairs are about trust. It's when trust is betrayed and the person feels deceived, your partner feels deceived or betrayed. So I just want to give that little disclaimer. Okay, you guys, next week I'm going to talk about affair recovery. Once like an affair happens, how can a couple recover from that? Can they? What does that look like? I will tell you about that. So look forward to that. You guys, thanks for coming as always. I'm always nervous and it's always like ends up okay. It's not perfect, folks, but it's okay. You know, and so thanks for coming. I'm Naomi Bloom. It's like getting fall here in the Midwestern United States. And so I have a fire going. It's kind of nice. So pretty soon I'm going to start offering some more in-depth stuff like online seminars for couples, for individuals, and, you know, just stuff about like midlife and making sure you're living authentically and like making sure you keep your relationship healthy. I'm going to start offering seminars. And you guys, I also have other like forums by which I communicate. You can find me on YouTube. You can search me up, Naomi Bloom. Instagram is Naomi_Bloom. No, sorry, Naomi_ELB. Sorry, Instagram. Okay? Naomi_ELB on Instagram. And you guys, I started a Patreon account and I thought a lot about this. Like, should I ask people to contribute if they think they're getting value from my videos and my content? And the reality is I spend a lot of time doing this. I know it like, well, hopefully it looks somewhat natural. I mean, I'm a little socially awkward, but this takes a lot of time, and that's time I could be seeing more clients. But I'd rather be like giving like mental health information to the people. Okay? So I'm going to ask you guys to support me on Patreon. You can search Naomi Bloom and you can donate like $1, $3, whatever, just so I can like continue to do this. You guys, I have topics. I have like a zillion topics I want to tell you guys about. I think it can be fun and interesting and educational and all of that stuff. Okay, so I love it when people send me comments, interact with the page, people send me pictures that are appropriate. I love that. I want to hear from you guys. There were some really good comments this week about affairs. And so people have been interacting more with the page. And you guys, I love that. That's what makes me like totally the happiest. So send your stuff, interact, like have your voice heard. Okay, and suggest what you want me to talk about. Okay? You guys, the reason I'm doing this is because mental health is health. There are a few things that will derail your life considerably. A physical health problem and a mental health problem. Those are equal. They can equally derail one's life. And so I'm here to like give information about that and give that message because mental health is health. Let's not, you guys, I went to a funeral this week of a suicide. I'm not going to go into detail, but it's like mental health is important. It can be terminal. There's such a thing as a terminal mental health disorder if you don't get help, okay? So I'm here because I actually give a, okay? So that's my mental health plug. You guys, thanks for coming again. This was fun. I'm excited for next week to talk about affair recovery once the deed has been done. So thanks for coming, you guys. I will see you next week. Bye.